That's a well random question. There was a joke about Boris Johnson going, it's in the blue bottle. Sorry, Lando, I think Toby Trice is a bit of a cooler name. 118, got your number. So over the last few weeks I've had quite a few questions from you guys, so I thought it'd be really cool today to host a Q&A session with you. Last week was all about fitness and becoming an athlete and what I'm up to kind of achieve my goals both physically and mentally in preparation to become a racing driver. I did the 12-minute Cooper challenge, which was properly brutal. In 12 minutes I got to 1.46 miles. And I think from some of the viewers it's been a bit of a challenge for some, so I've had a couple of messages of people that have actually beaten me, which I knew that would probably happen, but the competition's on because we've got like a little league table now of times to beat, or distances to beat. One of them's quite achievable, so I reckon I can do that, but one of them is insane, like it's just a touch near 2 miles. So that's properly quick over 12 minutes. So he's given me a bit of a target to reach, and I've told Will, and hopefully we can get there sooner or later. But I'm just going to make up the tea and then we can get through today's questions and answers. Old school kettle. So while the kettle's boiling, I thought it'd be good just to sit down and chat with you about some cool things that have happened last week. Thank you for everyone that voted of how much they love tea. It's good to know we've got a bunch of tea lovers out there like me, so grab a brew and sit tight for this episode because it could be quite fun and entertaining. So I wanted to share with you some really cool results from the week. One of my sponsors texted me a couple of days ago with some really good news, and they've just won an award. It's not official yet that they can announce, but they have won this award. I'm looking forward to catching up with them and raising a glass of champagne because the award they've won is absolutely incredible. So yeah, congratulations to them. They know who they are. I'll be able to chat to you soon about them. But what a result! And it just shows that I have genuinely got the best sponsors. Like, it's properly cool to work with them. To see them get an award like this is super awesome. I'm so proud of them. But we've had some really cool other results throughout last week. So since I announced my partnerships with Purple Tash, Momentum Social, 9 Line and Racing Mentor, we've had some amazing results in straight away. They've had return for their investment. And obviously that's a big part of what I spoke about in a previous episode, is obviously making sure that sponsors get the benefit in working with me. So I've had lots of short testimonials from them explaining about what they've achieved so far off the back of the sponsorship, and each and every single one of them has grown their business in some way. They've either attracted new sales, new clients, got something exciting going on off the back of it. All their social media's increased, engagement's increased on their media profiles. So I'm so excited to think that that's all happened because of the work that we've put together in this partnership. And that's before we've even got a race car and we can even go to a track and do all the cool things we've got planned there. So yeah, I'm so proud. Like, I'm so excited that that's happening, and I just thought I'd share that cool story with you because it just shows how beneficial sponsorship can be when done in the right way. And I'm really focused all the time on what can I do for my sponsors. So to have that sent to me in text message, emails, live results, and seeing people actually enjoy the benefits of those companies, double thumbs up. I'm so happy. So congratulations to everyone, and Team TTR is definitely winning off track. Let's hope we can get on the track soon and win on track. Today's mug, the left-handed mug. I'm a left-hander, so I finally found a mug that's left-handed. I finally found a mug that is left-handed. All problems solved. So if you hold it with the left hand, it's blank on the other side. So when you drink it with your right hand, which will be this way so people can see it, it's not right. So you must hold your tea in your left hand. If you catch me drinking tea out the right hand, it's just a bit weird. Let me know in the comments which hand you hold your mug in. Left or right? Go. Tam's shocker tea bag in here. Kettle bowl. It's a bit of an art to making tea because there's been an American lady who made British English breakfast tea, I think it was, in a microwave. Like, what the hell? I think I need to respond to her with an actual like, here's how to make a proper cup of tea. I'm sure she's had many people trolling her lately, but yeah, just to kind of put it into context, she basically made a cup of tea by putting, I think it was cold water on a tea bag with milk, and then she put it in the microwave. Like, who puts a mug of cold water in a tea bag in a microwave when there's such thing as a kettle? So I was like super confused by that video, but yeah, I'm not really sure what that's all about, to be honest. It's a bit strange. But here's how you make a proper tea, and you've got to get it right. You've got to let it brew, but you've got to get air in. You've got to get air in the tea bag. That's the kind of secret. Good brew. Good tea. Proper brew. See, left-handed mug. It does work. Look. So let's get cracking with the Q&A because it's going to be fun. Right, so I've got a brew. Got my phone. Thank you for everyone that's responded to these questions this week. It's been super cool to see them. So I'm going to go straight into it. The first question we've got is from Sarah Reynolds. So, apart from a high-speed train, what's your daily ride? My daily ride's a bit dull at the moment. I've just got a diesel Mini Cooper and a Ford C-Max, so nothing too exciting. I really want to get a nice daily kind of driver, but yeah, not too sure at the moment. It's a bit dull, so I haven't particularly got a good racy type street car or anything exciting. So sorry, Sarah, that's a bit dull. Would you consider doing a day on the bank with us? 100%. Yeah, definitely with the Orange Army. I think it's amazing what you guys do on the track in keeping us all safe. You're all volunteers. It's super special, and I don't think many people know that in the audience, that the people that marshal at race circuits, they're unpaid, they're volunteers, they're there, they're there for the pure love of motorsport. And fortunately, I've not needed them too much yet, but even just their flag work and just how they marshal the track keeps us safe on track, because without these warnings ahead of us, like the yellow flags, we don't actually know of potentially a danger. You're going through a blind corner at over 100 miles an hour, and it's really, really important that they keep on top of the next post so that they can wave the correct flag if there is a danger, if there's an oil spill or something like that. So I'm so grateful of the Orange Army, and Sarah, I'd love to join you guys on the bank sometime. If I'm able to do that, I don't know if I need to get a license or something, but can you let me know? That would be great, because I'd love to do that with you guys if I'm not racing. And she said, Tar, loving the vlogs, the dogs, views of deal, and your accents. Oh, I think a few people have liked the accents. So if you haven't seen them already, just fast forward to the end of most videos, because I tend to have a little accent on there. So the next question is from Jess Shanahan, Racing Mentor. Curious as to where your work ethic comes from. Did you have to learn this as an adult, or was it instilled in you from a young age? I think I've always been a bit of a perfectionist at heart. Like, right from a young age, I've always strived to be the best me as possible. Everything I ever have been given, any task or challenge or anything that I've done in life, I've always given it 100%, and achieving it in the very best possible way I can. So I guess this has come from my childhood, but I think throughout my adult life, I've definitely grown a more competitive streak. I've become a person that really wants to succeed. So that really makes me work hard. You know, if you don't work hard, how can you achieve your goals? So I focus on the end game, and the hard work is just my journey to get there. So yeah, it's probably come from my childhood, to be fair. I suppose it's installed in me, but I encourage everyone out there to work hard and look at achieving your goals and chase your dreams, because that's the important part, right? Here's one from Darryl Evans. Hi Toby, I would like to know what motivates and drives you to keep pushing for sponsorship and a drive in light of the circumstances you face at this time after such a successful year last year. This coupled with your day job and all the work needed to keep striving for sponsorship, it must be challenging and many would give up. Yeah, I agree. It's super hard, like balancing my day job, which is shift work, long hours. It's a very tiring job being a train driver. Is difficult with trying to attract sponsors, working for my current sponsors, doing the vlogs, and that's even before I get on the track and all the training that's involved to actually race. So it is tough, but I've got a huge motivation, and most of you know that the fertility journey is kind of what motivates me. I'm on a campaign to raise awareness for fertility and infertility, and the fact that I'm helping people out through motorsport is what puts fire in my belly. It's the whole reason why I started racing in the first place, is to kind of overcome the negative thoughts I had around my life and not being able to have a child, and trying to understand why Katie and I haven't had a baby in 6 years. And this gives me determination each and every day to succeed. I have a lot of inspiration from my granddad as well, because I know that if he was around, he'd be so proud. And we had these chats before about how cool it would be racing in British touring cars or the GT or Le Mans someday. And all these little things put together give me this huge determination to succeed. And I hope that comes across. I know a lot of the guys that I work with, they all say to me, you know, you've got so much motivation towards this, but genuinely, I want to be there and I want to be following my dreams, and all that kind of stuff that I've gone through, the negative parts of my life pushes me to make this even better and bigger. So I hope that answers your question, but that's exactly what motivates me. So Neil Venter said, how do you approach your employer to sponsor you? Just ask. Simple question, just ask. I knew I had some really cool ideas for my employer, because I work for Southeastern. I understood their goals and I know the business really well. So it was a really obvious thing for me to actually speak to them, because why wouldn't I want my employer part of this? Because it's such an awesome journey and it fits really well with the Southeastern trains, and me driving fast cars. But how I did it, I just went and go and spoke to the right person. I love talking to people, so it felt really natural for me to go and speak to that person. And if you're working for a company that you feel that you could offer benefit to them through a sponsorship or partnership, go and chat to your management team and see where that goes. So GMW Racing _9, what's your race breakfast? A cup of tea. And I've not really had that much structure with breakfast. Race weekends I get really nervous, and I find it actually quite tricky to eat because the schedule's so fast, everything's all happening quite quickly, and I've got all these anxious nerves and anticipation for the race weekend. So my breakfast probably isn't as good as it should be. I do like kind of a few croissants, a bit of fruit, that kind of thing. It starts my day. Traditionally I love breakfast and I eat quite a lot of breakfast, so maybe I should work on this with Will or someone that perhaps could advise on nutrition of what is the best breakfast to have. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, quite often I'd like to think, a nice full English breakfast, but it never seems to work that way. Has racing taken over your passion for football? Being a United fan is a passion killer. Perry, yeah, maybe being a United fan is a passion killer at the moment because of their recent form. But racing definitely has taken over my passion for football. Obviously, I love the game of football. I have done for many years. But the latest kind of 3 or 4 years of the Premier League has really kind of been boring to watch. It's not the game of football I know, of the kind of hard sport and the contact sport it is. It seems to be a lot of people rolling around the floor now and fainting fouls and tackles, and I'm not really a fan of that. But I definitely have discovered more about racing as I've become part of it, and racing's super awesome. I love the whole energy of the motorsport track, being around all the people, the fans, everyone that's involved in it. It's a huge team thing, and I think I underestimated how awesome racing is. Obviously I've watched it on TV for many years, but being part of it now has just fueled this passion to another level. JJ Beckham 89, your thoughts, experience on simulator training. I'm thinking of buying one, PS4 plus wheel plus seat, thank you. So last year I actually used the sim quite a lot. I've had a PS4 and a Thrustmaster steering wheel for some time, which I did a lot of like esports and stuff on. But simulator training I think is really, really important these days because it helps you visualise the racetrack. It helps you get your kind of mindset right, focusing on how to improve yourself as a driver. There's so much you can learn from sims. It can't obviously give you the physical forces of what you experience in a car in both G-force and heat and the whole environment. But what it does do, it helps you train your mind to be like as focused as you can when you go to track. And I think if you use simulation in the right way, rather than just going and hack some laps up, if you really make structured sessions, then it can be really beneficial on the racetrack. And I proved that last year because I had very little testing. Most of the testing I had actually was just in the sim because we couldn't afford the budget for testing quite regularly in the race car. So I'm a big thumbs up and a big advocate for sim racing. I want a sim myself. I'm looking to develop a home sim here so that I can train more regularly. So yeah, do it. Get yourself even if it's a basic setup to start with, get what you can. It's fantastic, and hopefully you'll see results when you get to the racetrack. What shampoo do you use? That's a well-random question. I use Head and Shoulders anti-dandruff shampoo. I think that's a bit of an old-school, traditional British. Is it British? I don't know. But that's the shampoo I use. There was a joke about Boris Johnson going, it's in the blue bottle. But yeah, I use Head and Shoulders. How did you progress from karting with mates to being in the race car? Good question. There's an episode coming up very soon with that. It happened all very quickly. So coming from karting into car racing was a very, very quick transformation because I only spent maybe 2 and a bit years of go-karting seriously. And now I'm a racing driver. It all was a bit of a whirlwind. But I think I had this drive to become a racing driver, and I had opportunities that came my way and I just grabbed them with 2 hands and made the most of it. But every time I went to the karting track, I always made sure that I treated it almost like it was a professional thing. I used to analyse my performance. I was always very focused on achieving better results, being quicker on the track, and trying to just improve in every way I can. It leads back to the earlier question about the determination to succeed. Is I am a perfectionist, or I try to be. So every time I went to the track, I was always like, right, I've got to go a little bit quicker. Turn 1, I can go a bit quicker through here, maybe through the hairpin, how can I overtake, defending, and all those kind of things together. So that allowed me then to progress into car racing. And I think all those skills I learnt in go-karting has definitely allowed me to go to the racetrack in a car and use those skills in a positive way. Emma Killip, if you had to eat 1 meal a day for the rest of your life, what would you choose? That's the hardest question yet. I'm a foodie. If I could eat 1 meal a day for the rest of my life, what would I choose? Emma, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm a bit stuck for that. I love so many different foods. I'm stuck for words. I think if I had to choose like a type of food, I'd probably choose Italian because I love the Italian food and it's very fresh and it's really good for you. But if I had 1 meal a day for the rest of your life, I can't answer that. I have no idea. Roscoe, can I have a go in your race car, please? With a wink. Yes, you can, mate. Hopefully we can sort something out one day where we do a sort of track day and I can tutor everyone to come and have a drive of the race car. That will be something that I'm sure we'll sort out in the near future, I hope. But certainly it's something I want to do. So, yeah. I'll hold you to that. You can hold me to that. But one day we can get you out in the race car and have a go. Jake_Ed30_. There's milliseconds between you and the car behind. How would you stay focused on the task? I think this has come through experience. I know from karting, it's very open and raw, and that kind of hones your skills with that because you can literally sit on the bumper of the cart in front of you with a cart behind you, and you can pick out your apexes and do it all right. But when I'm racing, I think I get in this kind of like, almost like, I don't know, it's like an escapism. I get in this groove where you're not actually thinking, you're just in the moment and part of it. When you're in a car, what I did notice was that when you're that close behind someone doing, near 100 mile an hour, you don't actually see much other than their rear windscreen and maybe the lights, because you're literally so close to them, and then you can't really see much track in front. But you're almost like, because you know the circuits really well, you can almost visualize each and every corner, where to brake, where to turn in. And at the same time, when I'm that close to a car, I'm like, I'm going past you, I'm going to get past you. So I've got this like huge aggression of, I've got to get past you, I've got to get past you. And I think that then brings out this sort of spidey sense feeling that that puts you up the front and gets you there. So yeah, but the training comes as part of that. So the simulator training I do helps me stay focused. So when I'm in them situations, I'm not overwhelmed by it, and I'm actually quite relaxed. So that, I suppose, that helps keep me focused. Jimmy Boy Coleman again. Did you take up karting with a plan to be a racing driver, or was it unexpected? No, I didn't actually, to be fair. When I took up karting, it was just purely a hobby, purely a place that I can go with my friend Russ to have a good session and a good time, and to just escape from dealing with my fertility problems. Becoming a racing driver was completely unexpected. I had some opportunities that had come up, and I just grabbed them with two hands and was just like, this is incredible. I jumped on the ride and was just, I'm literally like, I'm riding a surf wave now. So yeah, it was very much unexpected. Emma Killip, if you could do a lap in a car with any racing driver, who would you choose? That's a really difficult question. If he was still alive, I think it'd be Senna, because I just love his flair and just the way he drives. But unfortunately, he's no longer with us, and it's super sad of how he passed away. But drivers that are, so the driver that I would choose now would probably be Jenson Button. I've always looked up to Jenson Button for many, many years. He's an absolute idol. He's a great sportsman in motorsport, and I think he's just the kind of the role model that I look up to. And to sit in a car and do a lap with him would be a super special moment. If that ever happened, I don't know what I'd say. I'd be speechless. So yeah, Jenson Button would be my choice for that. New Street Designs. What's your worst fear when driving on a racetrack? Losing. That's definitely my worst fear. I have no fears when I'm in the car. Obviously it's a dangerous sport, but I have no fear when I'm in the car. Of course, leading up to the race, there is a bit of apprehension that, it is dangerous, but when you're out there, you're in a different zone. You're way up here. But yeah, losing's my worst fear. I want to win. Andy's ringing me. Typical. Right, I've got to pause there. Sorry guys, I had to take a quick phone call. So the next question I've got is from Purple Tash. What car would you love to race? My dream car to race is actually a Porsche RSR Le Mans car. That's the ultimate for me. It sounds gorgeous. It's a properly cool machine, and I love the brand Porsche. So that's definitely my dream drive. Favourite racing driver? I think I've answered it before, but Jenson Button, proper cool idol for the sport, really good sportsman. He is a driver that I've looked up to for a long time, and they're definitely, and I run number 22 as well, it makes sense. So yeah, Jenson Button, big thumbs up for the dude. Which racing driver has the coolest name? That's an easy one, right? Purple Tash. It's got to be me, Toby Trice. I don't know if that's a bit vain, but who else has got a cool name? I suppose Lando Norris has got a cool name. I think that's pretty cool. It's a bit different, stands out. Everyone knows Lando, but sorry Lando, I think Toby Trice is a bit of a cooler name. Purple Tash again. Favourite racetrack? So my favourite racetrack is Donington Park. It's the first track that I got my first podium on. I got a double podium that weekend. It's got some amazing corners. It's a properly good, committed track that tests most drivers with its undulations and the way that the kind of flow of the circuit is. That's definitely my favourite track I've driven. I think my favourite track that I haven't driven will be Spa, because of Eau Rouge and just how fast the circuit is, with some really technical sections. So yeah, the one that I've driven, Donington Park, and the one I haven't driven is Spa. Neil Venter. What do you think of alcohol companies as sponsorships? Neil, I think alcohol companies as sponsors are absolutely fine. I've as long as you promote it in the right way, I think it's fine. I'm not one that advocates drinking lots of alcohol because it's unhealthy to. But we all like a celebration. I like a glass of wine. So why not have an alcohol sponsor? There's so much you can do for an alcohol company. through motorsport because of the way the hospitality world works and the fact that there's a huge fan base that will probably drink alcohol. But yeah, I mean, as long as you approach it in the right direction with the positive mindset of the goodness of what alcohol companies do for community, then there's a really nice angle there. So yeah. Dan Reed _S14. What's your favourite corner on any track that you've driven? This one's definitely again it's a bit of a close one, I think. Actually, it's a tie up between Brands Hatch Paddock Hill Bend and Donington Park, the Craner Curves. Really, really close actually. I'm going to go with Craner Curves because of how fast and committed you are through there. It's a properly quick corner. You're blind, you turn in and it drops down. It's pretty damn savage. But Paddock Hill does test a lot of drivers because the way you just float over the top of it is also quite unique. But I'm going to go Donington Park, Craner Curves. So how can you convince businesses to sponsor you despite COVID-19? Neil, that's a really good question. We're in a really uncertain time at the moment for businesses and the hospitality industry and sponsorship entirely. You know, there's the huge uncertainty of what's going to happen for the future. Obviously, I've managed to make sponsorship through the COVID-19. So some people have asked, about how that's happened and how I've managed to make that work. I think it's just understand sponsorship itself rather than just a company paying you as a driver to race cars. There's so much more to sponsorship than racing cars, which I've proved in the last few weeks. So I think if you can show genuine value and they've got available budget to do sponsorship activity, there's so much you can offer that the COVID-19 actually isn't a problem. For the sponsors that I've just recently taken on board, it's not a problem at all. Obviously, it's tricky business times at the moment for sure, and I'm very aware of that. But in terms of actually running a sponsorship campaign, you can still do lots of other activities to show value for a particular sponsor. So I hope that answers your question. And let's hope COVID soon disappears and we can get back to normal, or what is normal, as soon as possible. I think we'll all appreciate that. New Street Designs. If you was offered a BTC or a GT car, which one or championship would you go for? So I think New Street Designs is asking here whether I'd go for British touring cars or British GT. On that note, I would take the British GT drive over the British touring cars. I know a lot of people watching this video will probably scream at that, thinking, why not? British touring cars is where it's at. But for me, as a career, I think choosing British GT is definitely going to hold me in better stead for the future. I think once I go to British touring cars, I'd be stuck there, and I wouldn't be looking to achieve my goal as a Le Mans driver. I want to race on the global stage, not just the British stage. And if that is possible, it's a huge goal. But if that is possible, then the British GT will be a bigger opportunity for me. I think with the GT championships, there's still quite a nice manufacturer presence in terms of getting a factory drive. And of course, Porsche is my ultimate goal as a manufacturer driver. And obviously, GT driving's where their home is. So yeah, I'd choose British GT. Sorry, British touring cars. Charlie Gray 22. How long have you wanted to be a racing driver? I suppose deep in my heart, like many, I think from a young age I'd have loved to have called myself a racing driver because I think motorsport's awesome. I've always loved the sport. I've watched my uncle from a very young age, and racing's just awesome, right? But I never imagined that dream would become a reality. At this point in my life, certainly my late 20s, I didn't ever expect to become a racing driver. So I think once I was karting and I had this taste of the fact that I could potentially become a racing driver, that yearn from my childhood erupted into this need of becoming a racing driver. So it's been with me a long time. But maybe the last sort of 3 or 4 years is when it's become something that I've really been determined and working towards happening. And becoming a racing driver hasn't just happened quickly for me in terms of like I became a driver. It's been 4 years of hard work and determination to get me here. And that's a good message to put out. And hopefully that inspires you. DC _triathlon. What's the best biscuits dunk in your tea? I don't know. I'm not a massive biscuit dunker, if I'm honest, Damien. I love a chocolate digestive biscuit. That's probably my favourite biscuit, or a bourbon. But I wouldn't fancy my chances dipping a bourbon in tea. You'll probably lose it if you're not careful. But if you want the best biscuit to dunk in tea, without the fear of it dropping in your tea and disappearing into a mushy mess at the bottom of your cup, probably a hobnob is your golden nugget, I think there. But digestive biscuits for me, chocolate digestives or a bourbon. Another question from Neil Venter. Are there some industries to avoid when looking for sponsors? Illegal ones. Don't look to illegal companies or companies that deal with illegal activity as sponsors, because that would just be horrendous. That wouldn't work for you, your other sponsors, and the industry of motorsport. I think look at industries that are relevant to you. So whatever your niche is, or your interests, or what your expertise are in, that would be where I'd look for sponsors first. I'm quite open to talk among quite a lot of different industries because I have quite a broad knowledge of a lot of industries. But yeah, just avoid the illegal ones. Advisor Chris 118, got your number. Want to know who the best mortgage broker is that you know? I wonder, Chris. So the guy that's asking this question is Chris Carlisle. I worked with him many years ago with NatWest Bank, and Chris is a top mortgage advisor. So I hate to say this, Chris, but I'm going to go with you, mate. You're definitely the best mortgage broker, and I'm sure you'll appreciate that. And by the way, guys, he's a northerner. JDS 0911, Schumacher or Hamilton? That's hard. That's really hard. My childhood memories are Schumacher. Hamilton's British and he's a phenomenal driver. I'm going to go with Hamilton. I wish Schumacher really well, and I hope he's recovering from his injuries. It's tragic what happened to him. But in terms of driver on the track, Hamilton is just impeccable. The way he can put a car around a track so perfectly is something to aspire to. Like, he can just switch it on in qualifying and just nail a lap perfectly. And I think that kind of perfection is what I like to see in myself, if I can ever achieve that someday. So yeah, Hamilton. So that's all the questions for this week. Thank you for everyone that went onto my Instagram page, chucked in a question. It's been really appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed today, because that's been quite fun actually doing a Q&A, because it's nice to know what you guys want to know. I'm probably going to do one of these once a month, I think, because I'm sure questions will arise as I put more and more content on this space. If you've got a question for me, then leave it in the comments. It'll be good to hear if you've got any questions on the back of my answers, because some of these are actually quite in-depth discussions, particularly around sponsorship and other areas that I've covered around racing. But yeah, fire a question into the comments. If you've liked this video, please hit the like, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Tune in on Thursday, 7 PM. Need to turn it on, love. There we go. We're now charging. Right, back to it, no pot. Hi. I don't know what I just said. Start again. What was I going to say?